The Stoic secret to staying calm in every situation. Imagine this. Right now, at this very moment, you have the power to turn your biggest struggles into your greatest victories. Sounds bold, right? But how exactly do we do that? Today, we're diving into something timeless, Stoicism. This ancient philosophy has been helping people not just survive, but actually thrive in the face of adversity for thousands of years. It's helped people find peace when everything around them was falling apart. And it can help you too. So take a second and think back to the last time life really tested you. Maybe someone said something that hit a nerve. Maybe you faced a setback that shook your confidence. How did you handle it? Did you instantly react? Maybe with anger, fear, or frustration? Or did you pause, reflect, and respond in a way that stayed true to your values? That gap between reacting and responding, that's where Stoicism comes alive. It's a guide that helps us act with courage, with wisdom, and with calm, no matter what life throws at us. And here's the thing. This philosophy might be ancient, but its power is deeply relevant today. Especially now, in a world that moves fast and often pushes us to act before we think. The Stoics believed we don't control what happens to us, but we always control how we respond. That one idea? It changes everything. At its core, Stoicism is about training your mind to respond, not react. And this isn't just about holding back your temper or putting on a calm face. It's about building a deep, stable inner awareness. A mindset that helps you stay grounded when the world gets chaotic. When we respond instead of react, we step into a place of clarity, where our decisions come from reason and reflection, not from a sudden emotional spike. Let's break that down. Think about how many times stress, regret, or even full-blown conflict has come from a split-second reaction. Someone says something rude, you snap back. Something doesn't go your way, you spiral into panic. But imagine if you could pause in those moments. Breathe, center yourself, and then speak or act from a calm, clear place. That's the real strength Stoicism offers. It's not just about peace of mind, though that's a powerful benefit. It's also about becoming someone others can rely on. Someone who stays steady under pressure. Someone who makes thoughtful decisions. And when you operate from that place, you uplift the people around you too. In this video, we're going to explore how you can actually do this. How to take the ideas of the Stoics and turn them into daily practices that help you respond thoughtfully in any situation. We'll draw from both ancient Stoic principles and modern psychological strategies. You'll learn how to become more mindful, how to manage your emotions in healthy ways, and how to zoom out and see the bigger picture, just like the Stoics did. By the end, you'll walk away with a practical toolkit you can use to meet challenges with clarity and confidence. So let's start this journey together and step into a mindset that not only transforms how you deal with problems, but how you live your entire life. Now, let's go deeper. If we want to master the art of responding, we have to understand what it truly means. The Stoics, those wise thinkers from ancient Greece and Rome, had a powerful take on this. They believed that true strength isn't found in controlling everything around us. It's found in controlling what's inside us, our thoughts, our actions, our choices. So why is it so important to respond rather than react? Picture this. You're in a heated meeting, someone says something that feels like a personal jab. Or maybe at home, your plans fall apart last minute. The natural instinct? React. Maybe you lash out. Maybe you shut down. And while these reactions are human, they often lead to more stress, more tension, and decisions we later wish we could take back. Here's where Stoicism steps in. It teaches us to press pause, to recognize that gap between what happens and what we do next. And in that gap, that's where your power lives. That's the space where you can make a choice. Do I follow my impulse? Or do I respond with reason? Responding means taking a moment to observe, Not just the situation, but also what's going on inside you. What are you feeling? Where is it coming from? Is this feeling aligned with who you really want to be? When you build the habit of stepping back like this, even for a few seconds, you give yourself space to make better choices. But let's be clear, Stoicism isn't about pretending emotions don't exist. It's not about bottling things up or putting on a mask. The Stoics were actually very in touch with emotion. They just didn't let emotions drive the car. Instead, they believed in acknowledging feelings, understanding them, and then deciding whether or not to act on them. That's emotional intelligence. That's maturity. When you practice this way of responding over reacting, it doesn't just help you stay calm. It strengthens your relationships. It improves your communication. And it makes you more effective in nearly every area of life. Whether you're leading a team, parenting your kids, or just dealing with daily life, this mindset shifts everything. And just like building a muscle, this kind of mental strength doesn't come overnight. It takes practice. It takes reflection. It takes showing up again and again, even when it's hard. The Stoics knew this too. They were big on discipline and daily practice. They didn't expect perfection. They expected effort. And with effort, they believed anyone could live with more wisdom, more peace, and more strength. So, as we continue in this journey, we'll talk about exactly how to build this mindset. Step by step. We'll talk about how to develop self-awareness, how to hit pause in high-stress moments, and how to reframe situations so you can respond from a place of clarity and virtue, not fear or frustration. This isn't just theory. These are real tools you can use. And as we move forward, you'll see how each one connects to the Stoic path and helps you move closer to becoming the kind of person who can face anything with strength, calm, and purpose. Let's begin this part by looking at a foundational idea in both Stoicism and modern psychology: self-awareness. This is where everything starts. The Stoics, especially thinkers like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, emphasize the importance of knowing yourself, understanding your thoughts, your reactions, your desires, and even your fears. So what does this look like in your everyday life? It means noticing when you're getting irritated instead of just being irritated. It means becoming aware of that tight feeling in your chest when you're stressed, or that rush of heat when anger starts rising. When you learn to notice these things early, before they take control, you create space to choose how to respond. Think of it like this. You're driving down a road, and suddenly there's a curve ahead. If you're paying attention, you see the curve early and start slowing down. But if you're distracted, by the time you notice it, you might already be off the road. That's exactly what self-awareness does. It gives you that early warning system so you don't crash emotionally. Now, once we're aware, the next step is something that sounds incredibly simple but can change everything: the pause. Marcus Aurelius famously reflected on the space between stimulus and response. That moment, however brief, is where we reclaim our power. Most people go through life reacting automatically. Someone cuts them off in traffic, they yell. A coworker criticizes them, they get defensive. The plan falls apart, they spiral. But Stoicism invites us to take a breath. Literally, one deep breath. That tiny moment helps interrupt the automatic loop and lets you step into conscious choice. This pause doesn't have to be long. Sometimes, 3 seconds is all it takes to move from, "I'm going to say something I'll regret," to, "let me speak from clarity." That's why it helps to create rituals around pausing. Maybe before responding to a stressful email, you count to 5. Maybe when you feel pressure rising, you excuse yourself to take a walk. These micro habits anchor you in intention. Another powerful Stoic strategy is reframing. This is all about shifting your perspective. The Stoics were masters at this. Instead of saying, "Why is this happening to me?" they would ask, "How can I use this?" They trained themselves to see obstacles not as roadblocks, but as opportunities for growth. Let's say you get rejected for a job you really wanted. The reactive part of you might say, "I'm not good enough. This is a failure." But the responsive mind says, "Okay, what can I learn from this? What doors might open instead?" That's reframing. It's not about pretending everything is great. It's about looking for meaning, growth, and forward motion in everything, even setbacks. Reframing also helps reduce the emotional charge of difficult situations. When something goes wrong, you can remind yourself, "This is temporary. This is outside of me. I still control how I move forward." That mindset shift might not make the pain disappear, but it makes it manageable. It puts you back in the driver's seat. Now, let's talk about one of the most empowering Stoic ideas. Focus on what you can control. If you take nothing else from this video, take this principle with you. The Stoics taught that we should divide the world into two parts, things we control and things we don't. And our peace, our effectiveness, and our happiness all depend on focusing on the first and letting go of the second. So what's in your control? Your thoughts, your actions, your words, your attitude. That's it. Everything else, what people think of you, how others behave, what life throws your way, is outside of your hands. You can influence it, sure, but you can't control it. Letting go of what you can't control doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing where to put your energy. It means accepting reality as it is, and then deciding how you want to respond within that reality. This principle is freeing. It means you no longer have to waste your time trying to change other people. You don't have to obsess over the future or ruminate on the past. You just bring your best self to what's in front of you, right now. And that brings us to another powerful Stoic practice, daily reflection. The Stoics weren't just philosophers, they were practitioners. They believed in doing the work every day. Marcus Aurelius wrote nightly reflections in his journal, asking questions like, "Did I act with virtue today? Did I speak wisely? What can I do better tomorrow?" This practice doesn't have to be complicated. Before bed, just take 5 minutes. Ask yourself, where did I react today instead of respond? What triggered me? Did I choose patience, or did I let frustration win? And if you slipped up, don't judge yourself. Just notice. And try again tomorrow. Over time, this simple act of reflection helps build a new habit, a habit of self-improvement rooted in honesty, clarity, and growth. The truth is, this path of response over reaction is not easy, but it is powerful, and it's available to everyone. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be willing to pause, willing to reflect, willing to practice, day after day. And here's something to remember, every time you choose to respond instead of react, you're not just helping yourself. You're impacting the people around you. You're becoming the calm in the storm, the one who listens, the one who chooses understanding over escalation, the one who leads with wisdom instead of ego. That's the kind of person the world needs more of. And Stoicism offers a clear, practical path to becoming that person. In the next part, we'll dive deeper into mindfulness, how it connects with Stoicism and how you can train your mind to stay grounded no matter what chaos is swirling around you. We'll look at breath work, body awareness, and even how to bring mindfulness into your conversations and relationships. Let's now turn our focus to something deeply connected to everything we've talked about so far, mindfulness. If Stoicism is the compass that points us toward wise living, then mindfulness is the tool that helps us walk the path. And no, mindfulness isn't just about meditation or sitting still with your eyes closed. At its core, it's about awareness, being fully present in this moment with your thoughts, your feelings, and your surroundings. The Stoics didn't use the word mindfulness, but they practiced it every single day. Marcus Aurelius wrote constantly about staying grounded in the present and observing his own thoughts. Epictetus taught that our judgments, not external things, cause our suffering and that we must watch our minds carefully. Seneca reminded us that life is short and that the only time we ever truly own is now. So, how do we bring mindfulness into our daily lives in a way that supports the Stoic mindset of response over reaction? It starts with focused attention. One of the simplest yet most powerful exercises is breath meditation. Just sit down, close your eyes if you like, and bring your full attention to your breathing. Inhale, exhale. That's it. You don't need to change your breath, just observe it. Your mind will wander. That's okay. That's actually part of the practice. Every time you notice your thoughts drifting and gently bring your focus back to your breath, you're strengthening your mental muscles. You're training your mind to return to the present. Over time, this helps you become more aware of your thoughts and reactions in daily life, giving you more chances to pause and choose your response. Another excellent practice is mindful observation. This is the art of turning everyday activities into mindfulness exercises. For example, the next time you eat a meal, try doing it without any distractions. No phone, no TV, no scrolling. Just sit with your food and pay attention. Notice the textures, the flavors, the way your body feels. You can do the same while walking, showering, or even doing the dishes. When you bring this kind of attention to small tasks, you build the habit of presence. And that presence carries over into more challenging situations, like difficult conversations or high-pressure decisions. You become more steady, more intentional, more aware. There's also a technique called the body scan, which can be incredibly helpful for tuning into how your body stores tension or emotion. You can do this lying down or sitting comfortably. Start by bringing your attention to the top of your head, then slowly scan down through your face, neck, shoulders, chest, all the way to your feet. Notice any sensations, tightness, warmth, cold, tingling, and just observe them without judgment. Why is this important? Because often, our bodies feel things before our minds catch up. You might notice your jaw clenching before you realize you're stressed. You might feel a knot in your stomach before you know you're anxious. Becoming aware of these signals gives you a head start. It helps you recognize your emotional state early so you can respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. And don't overlook the power of mindful communication. This is where your awareness and Stoic principles can shine in your relationships. The next time you're in a conversation, especially a tense one, try this: really listen. Not to reply, not to defend, just listen. Be fully present with the other person. Watch their body language. Hear the emotion behind their words. Pause before you respond. This isn't easy. It takes discipline and practice. But it changes everything. When you're fully present in your interactions, you communicate more clearly, more compassionately, and with more impact. You're not just reacting to someone's words, you're responding to their humanity. That's a Stoic virtue in action: empathy. The Stoics believed that every person is a rational being, navigating their own set of struggles. So even when someone lashes out, Stoicism teaches us not to mirror their chaos, but to remain anchored in our values. Mindful communication gives us the tools to do that. So, how do we begin building these practices into real life? Start small. Choose one mindfulness technique and commit to it for 5 minutes a day. Maybe it's breath meditation. Maybe it's mindful walking. Maybe it's just putting your phone away while you eat lunch. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start. Over time, these small practices add up. They help you stay grounded in your own thoughts and feelings, even when things around you are stressful or overwhelming. And when you're grounded, you're in a better position to choose your response, to act from clarity, not chaos. But here's something even more important. Mindfulness is a bridge. It connects the theory of Stoicism with real, lived experience. It's how we move from knowing the right thing to do to actually doing it. And that's where transformation happens. When we combine the awareness of mindfulness with the intentionality of Stoicism, we become people who can face anything, grief, anger, disappointment, change, and still choose to move forward with strength and grace. This doesn't mean we become emotionless or robotic. Quite the opposite. It means we become deeply human, fully aware of our emotions, but not controlled by them. Open to life's ups and downs, but not knocked off course by them. So, let's recap what we've covered so far. First, we explored the Stoic mindset of response over reaction. Then we talked about self-awareness, pausing, reframing, and focusing on what we can control. Now, we've added mindfulness to that toolkit, a practice that strengthens everything else. And here's the beautiful part. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Responding with wisdom starts to feel like second nature. You begin to trust yourself more. You build a quiet confidence, knowing that you can handle what comes, because you've trained your mind to stay steady. In the next part, we'll get even more practical. We'll walk through real-life scenarios and show you how to apply these tools at work, in relationships, and in moments of personal challenge. You'll learn how to bring Stoicism and mindfulness into every corner of your life. Now that we've built a solid foundation with Stoic philosophy and mindfulness practices, let's bring it all into real life. Because let's be honest, these ideas are only as powerful as our ability to live them. So in this part, we're going to talk about practical application. How do we actually respond with intention instead of reacting emotionally when we're in the middle of a stressful or triggering moment? Let's walk through a few common scenarios, places where reactivity often sneaks in, and look at how we can respond instead using Stoic and mindful techniques. Scenario 1. A conflict at work. Picture this. You're in a meeting. You've worked hard on a project, and someone criticizes your approach in front of everyone. Instinct kicks in. You feel attacked. Maybe your face gets hot. Your jaw tightens. You want to defend yourself, or even snap back. Here's the Stoic approach. Pause. Take a breath. In your mind, step back from the emotional wave. Remember, their words are outside of your control, but your response is not. Instead of lashing out, ask yourself, what is this really about? Is there truth in what they're saying? Am I reacting from ego? From here, you can choose a response that reflects your values. You might say, thank you for the feedback. I'd like to understand more about your concerns so I can improve. That doesn't mean you agree with them. It just means you're staying grounded and keeping the conversation constructive. That kind of response builds respect. It sets you apart, and it reflects a powerful Stoic truth. You can't control how others behave, but you can control the kind of person you are in every situation. Scenario 2, a personal setback. Let's say you've been working toward a goal for months, maybe starting a business, pursuing a promotion, building a relationship, and suddenly, it falls apart. The opportunity slips through your fingers. You feel crushed, disappointed, maybe even embarrassed. Well, this is where reframing becomes your superpower. Instead of seeing it as failure, ask, what is this teaching me? How can I grow from this? Seneca wrote, a setback has often cleared the way for greater progress. Many things have fallen only to rise to more exalted heights. The Stoic doesn't resist reality, they work with it. They trust that setbacks are part of the process. And they focus not on what they lost, but on how they'll respond. That mindset doesn't just help you heal, it helps you bounce back stronger. Scenario 3. A heated argument with a loved one. Emotions run high in relationships. Maybe your partner or family member says something hurtful. Maybe they misunderstand you. It's easy to react defensively, to try to win the argument, to prove a point. But Stoicism teaches us that peace is more valuable than being right. So before you respond, ask yourself, is my goal here to connect or to conquer? Use the pause. Ground yourself. Then speak from clarity. I feel hurt by what was said, and I want us to understand each other better. That's a response that honors your feelings and the relationship. It also reflects the Stoic idea that we're all connected. As Marcus Aurelius put it, we are made for cooperation. By choosing a calm, open-hearted response, you create space for healing and deeper connection. These examples show one thing: responding is a skill. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. But here's something just as important. To respond well under pressure, we need to set ourselves up for success before we're in the heat of the moment. That means building daily habits that reinforce our Stoic mindset. Let's explore a few of those. 1. Morning intention setting. Start your day with a simple Stoic reflection. Ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be today? What challenges might I face, and how will I meet them with virtue? Marcus Aurelius used to mentally prepare himself for the frustrations of the day. You will meet people who are meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, not because he was pessimistic, but because he wanted to stay steady when those moments came. You can do this too. Even 2 to 3 minutes of quiet reflection in the morning can anchor you in intention and remind you of the bigger picture. 2. Journaling for self-awareness. Set aside time in the evening to reflect. What went well today? Where did I react instead of respond? What can I learn from that moment? This kind of journaling isn't about judgment. It's about growth. Over time, it helps you see patterns, track your progress, and course correct with compassion and clarity. 3. Creating physical cues to pause. Sometimes, we need simple triggers to help us hit the pause button in real life. You might wear a bracelet and every time you see it, you're reminded to breathe. Or you could write pause, reflect, respond on a sticky note by your computer. These small tools create moments of awareness, and they remind you that you do have a choice in how you show up. As we start integrating these practices into daily life, something begins to shift. You start noticing when your old reactive habits try to kick in. You feel the heat rising, but instead of being swept away, you remember what you've practiced. You pause. You choose. You act with intention. And here's where things get really powerful. When you start responding differently, people notice. They feel the calm in your presence. They trust your judgment. Your relationships improve. Your leadership sharpens. Your confidence grows. That's the ripple effect of Stoicism. It begins within, but it radiates outward. And it's not just about avoiding stress or managing conflict. It's about creating a life of deeper meaning. A life where your actions reflect your highest values. A life where you're not just surviving the chaos, but shaping it with clarity and strength. So whether you're facing daily annoyances or life-changing decisions, you have tools now. Tools to meet those moments with grace. Tools to build the kind of life that doesn't just react, but responds with purpose. In the next part, we'll talk about how to maintain this mindset long-term, especially in moments when you fall back into old habits. We'll also explore how Stoicism can influence your long-term goals, your vision for your future, and your role in a much larger world. Let's now talk about something that's crucial to sustaining all of this over the long run: consistency. Because the truth is, it's easy to feel inspired in the moment. It's easy to say, from now on, I'm going to respond with calm and wisdom. But the real challenge is what happens next, when life tests you again and again. When you're tired, when you're overwhelmed, when someone pushes your buttons. And here's the honest truth. You will slip. We all do. You'll react impulsively. You'll lose your patience. You'll forget to pause. That's not failure. It's human. What matters most is how you respond after you react. That's where growth happens. The Stoics understood this. They didn't expect perfection. In fact, they assumed setbacks were part of the process. What made them different wasn't that they never failed, but that they always returned to the path. They reflected, learned, and they tried again. That's the mindset we need. Not one of shame or self-blame, but of resilient reflection. The idea that every misstep is feedback. Every overreaction is a chance to grow stronger and wiser. So let's talk about how to build a lifestyle around response rather than reaction. Not just a momentary practice, but a mindset that you carry with you day in and day out. 1. Normalize the return to stillness. You're going to get thrown off track. The goal isn't to never stumble, it's to come back faster each time. That's why daily rituals matter so much. Whether it's morning intention setting, evening journaling, or a midday mindfulness pause, these are anchors. They pull you back to center when life gets chaotic. And over time, that return becomes faster. You start to notice your patterns. You learn what triggers you and how to respond better next time. That's progress. 2. Set a long-term vision aligned with Stoic values. It's easy to respond well in one-off moments. But what about the bigger picture? The Stoics didn't just focus on individual actions. They thought deeply about what kind of life they wanted to live. So ask yourself, what kind of person am I becoming? What virtues am I building into the fabric of my life? Maybe it's courage. Maybe it's patience. Maybe it's honesty, or compassion, or discipline. Keep that vision in front of you. Because when you're clear about who you want to be, it becomes easier to respond in ways that match that identity, even under pressure. 3. Build a community that reinforces growth. You don't have to walk this path alone. Surround yourself with people who value growth. People who challenge you to think before you speak. People who model grace under fire. Even one good conversation can shift your entire mindset. And remember, you can also be that person for someone else. When you respond instead of reacting, you give others permission to do the same. That's how the ripple grows. 4. Use setbacks as self-coaching moments. The next time you react in a way you regret, try this simple reflection process. What happened? Describe the situation honestly. What did I feel? Acknowledge your emotion without judgment. Why did I react that way? Look for the deeper trigger: fear, insecurity, pride. What would a Stoic have done? Imagine how Marcus Aurelius or Epictetus might have responded. What will I try next time? Set a small, clear intention for future situations. This process isn't about guilt. It's about learning how to lead yourself with wisdom. Now let's zoom out for a moment. Because Stoicism isn't just about handling hard moments better. It's also about living with intention and purpose in every area of life. Let's talk about how this mindset plays out in different contexts. When you apply Stoic response at work, you become someone who doesn't panic under pressure. Someone who listens thoughtfully in meetings. Someone who gives feedback with clarity and calm. That kind of presence stands out and earns respect. It also makes you a better decision maker. Because when you're not ruled by stress or ego, you can evaluate challenges from a place of reason. You don't just put out fires, you lead with purpose. In relationships, responding instead of reacting transforms your relationships. It deepens trust. It opens space for real understanding. When someone feels heard, not attacked, they open up. They soften. And conversations become more than just exchanges of words. They become opportunities for connection and healing. This doesn't mean you suppress your needs or stay silent. It means you speak with clarity and care, anchored in your values, in your inner world. And finally, perhaps most importantly, this mindset shapes your inner dialogue. When you live from a place of response, you stop being at war with yourself. You become your own steady anchor. You recognize that life is unpredictable, but your mind doesn't have to be. You trust your ability to meet the moment. And even when things feel messy or uncertain, you know you're responding with integrity. That kind of self-trust is powerful. It builds confidence. It builds peace. So where does that leave us? Right here, in choice. Every moment, life hands you something. A delay, a comment, a challenge. And in that moment, you get to choose. Will I react from emotion? Or will I respond from wisdom? This isn't about being a stoic for the sake of it. It's about becoming someone who lives with clarity, depth, and calm, even in a world that often feels chaotic. You won't always get it right, but that's not the goal. The goal is to show up, to practice, to pause, to learn, and to lead your life, not just live it on autopilot. The final part of this journey will explore how to stay rooted in this mindset long-term, how to keep growing and evolving as a stoic, as a human, and as a calm, compassionate presence in the world. As we come to the final stretch of our journey, let's talk about longevity, how to make this mindset stick. Because if you've made it this far, you already know the truth. This way of living, of responding instead of reacting, of being mindful and intentional, isn't just a one-time decision. It's a way of being. It's something you cultivate, something you refine, day after day. So how do we keep going? How do we protect this calm, this clarity, when life gets messy again? Because it will. We're not aiming for perfection, we're aiming for practice. Lifelong practice. Just like the Stoics did. They didn't master their emotions once and never struggle again. They wrestled with themselves, reflected, adjusted, and kept going. That's the mindset we need to embrace. 1. Make self-reflection a permanent habit. We've already talked about evening journaling and self-assessment, but now we go deeper. Create a system that works for you. Maybe every Sunday night, you do a weekly review. Where did I respond with wisdom? Where did I fall into reactivity? What triggered me, and what does that reveal about me? What virtue do I want to strengthen this coming week? Think of it like tuning an instrument. Your mind, your emotions, your habits, they all need regular tuning to stay aligned with the life you want to live. This is your personal Stoic audit. A way to check in, not out. A way to steer yourself gently but consistently back to your ideals. 2. Anchor yourself in purpose, not just technique. When the motivation fades, and it will, it's not a lack of discipline that gets in your way. It's a lack of connection to why this matters. So revisit your why. Why do you want to respond more thoughtfully? What are you building in your life? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind in how you treated others, how you handled stress, how you showed up in the world? Your purpose doesn't have to be grand. Maybe you just want to be a calmer parent, a more grounded partner, a wiser leader, a more peaceful version of yourself. Whatever it is, keep it close. Write it down. Read it often. That sense of purpose will keep you going when the tools feel like a chore. 3. Practice small, win big. You don't have to wait for a crisis to practice Stoicism. In fact, the small moments are the best training grounds. The barista gets your order wrong? That's your moment to pause and smile. Someone cuts in front of you in traffic? That's your cue to breathe and stay composed. Your Wi-Fi cuts out during a meeting? Perfect time to remind yourself that externals don't control your inner peace. These little wins add up. They form a new identity. Over time, you start to become the calm person. Not because you force it, but because you've trained for it. And when the big storms hit, and they will, you'll already have the muscles you need. Teach what you're learning. One of the most powerful ways to solidify your mindset is to share it. Teach it. Live it out loud. You don't have to lecture anyone. Just let your responses do the talking. Let your behavior model what's possible. And when someone asks, how do you stay so calm? Share what's helped you. Point them toward these tools, these ideas, these practices. The Stoics weren't solitary monks. They were teachers, leaders, and citizens. They brought their philosophy into real life, into relationships, into politics, into the family. You can do the same. And when you teach what you've learned, even in small ways, it reinforces your own commitment. 5. Reconnect with the larger Stoic virtues. So far, we've focused on mindfulness, pausing, awareness, and response. But let's not forget that all of this is rooted in the 4 Stoic virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These aren't abstract ideas, they're living principles. Here's how they guide your response-based life. Wisdom reminds you to pause and think clearly. Courage empowers you to act with integrity, even when it's hard. Justice encourages empathy, fairness, and respect in every interaction. Temperance teaches you balance, to feel deeply but not be ruled by feelings. Revisiting these virtues helps you calibrate your actions. It reminds you that your goal isn't just to stay calm. It's to live a life of meaning, of character, of strength and kindness. And maybe that's the real heart of Stoicism. You have the power to shape how you live, even when you can't shape what happens to you. When you respond instead of react, you're reclaiming that power. You're saying, I will not be controlled by external chaos. I will not be a slave to fleeting emotions. I will not let anger, fear, or ego dictate who I become. Instead, you're choosing to live with clarity, to act with wisdom, to be a source of calm in a noisy world. And that choice? It ripples. It affects your health, your happiness, your relationships, your legacy. It makes you the kind of person people trust, respect, and turn to. Not because you're perfect, but because you're grounded. Because you've trained your mind to stand firm when others waver. Because you've chosen to respond when others react. So as we close this journey, remember, this isn't the end, it's the beginning. The beginning of a new chapter. A new mindset. A new way of walking through life with your head high and your heart clear. Every day, life will hand you moments. Big ones. Small ones. Easy ones. Hard ones. But in each moment, you'll have a choice. To react. Or to respond. And now, you know how. Thank you for taking this journey. For showing up. For doing the work. The world needs more people like you. People who choose wisdom over impulse, presence over distraction, purpose over chaos. So keep going. Keep reflecting. Keep choosing your response. Because this quiet strength, this steady resolve, this grounded clarity, that's what it means to live a Stoic-inspired life.